On our golden wedding anniversary, my husband Lu Jihua passed away from cancer. We were a dink couple and had no children. The funeral lasted 3 days, and I was so exhausted I ended up in the hospital. Yet, on the very day I was discharged, I received Lu Jihua's will. After I pass away, all of my estate will go to my son, Lu Yuanhao. Auntie Lin, please sign here. My son is waiting for me to help him with his homework, a man in his 30s said impatiently. He bore a striking resemblance to Lu Jihua. He said he was a test tube baby and never felt any father-son bond with Lu Jihua. He said he was raised single-handedly by his birth mother and is only here to claim the money he's entitled to by blood. Then what about me? And what about me? The one who cared for him for 50 years, who cleaned up after him when he was bedridden. So, what I was clinging to wasn't a marriage, but a lie. A sharp pain shot through my heart when I opened my eyes again. I had been reborn 50 years in the past, the hospital's premarital checkup center. Standing beside me was a young Lu Jihua, his expression unreadable. Miss Lin, here is your premarital health check report. Clutching the report, I was about to speak when Lu Jihua beat me to it. Let's break up. I froze. The flicker in his eyes, 50 years of marriage told me instantly, he had been reborn, too. Watching his retreating figure, I suddenly smiled. Thank you for not marrying me, in this life. I'm choosing a different path. Just like that, 30 years have passed. Today is my alma mater's centennial celebration. My husband, Jiang Qinhan, is attending the ceremony as a distinguished alumnus and will be giving a speech on stage. Old Jiang couldn't read the words on his speech draft, so he asked me to bring him his reading glasses. I never expected to run into Lu Jihua. He made an appearance with his wife, presenting himself as a successful man. The crowd swarmed around them. Isn't that Mr. Lu, the CEO of the listed company? You're here too. I owe everything to my alma mater's nurturing. His smile was brimming with confidence, and his wife beside him beamed with pride. I heard Mr. Lu recently donated 100 million to build a new laboratory building for the university. Exactly. Look at that new building over there. It was even named after his wife. Such a loving couple. A true model for all of us. Everyone chimed in one after another, piling on the praise as if trying to reach the heavens. Lu Jihua basked in the flattery until the woman beside her noticed me. Isn't that Lin Wan? She said, deliberately raising her voice. Did you come alone? It was her, my former primary physician, Yan Dan. She was the one who diagnosed my infertility. She married Lu Jihua. I gave a polite smile and said, no, it's not that. I'm sorry, I spoke out of turn. Yan Dan suddenly cut me off, looking genuinely apologetic. After all, your condition is so unique. Everyone started looking at me strangely. Sick? What kind of sickness? I remember back in our school days, Lu Jihua and Lin Wan were an item. So what's the deal now? Lin Wan, that outfit of yours. Yan Dan gave my simple cotton dress a meaningful once-over. Did you just come from a cleaning job? It's the school anniversary. At least you could have worn something more presentable. Snickers rippled through the crowd around us. I looked down at my cotton dress and cloth shoes. They really weren't suitable for the occasion. I was at home reviewing case files when a phone call summoned me here. I left in such a hurry that I didn't even have time to change. Worried about delaying old Zhang's speech, I didn't want to get tangled up with them and decided to skirt around and keep moving. A figure stepped out and blocked my path. It's Lu Jihua. He looked at me, his eyes inscrutable. Lin Wan, it's been so many years. I never imagined you'd be in such a state. With a pitying expression, Lu Jihua pressed a business card into my hand. If you run into any trouble, just reach out to me. What on earth are you doing? Yan Dan shouted loudly. She snatched the business card from my hand, held it high in the air, and her gaze darted back and forth between Lu Jihua and me. Lin Wan, you're spurning the respect I'm trying to show you. How utterly shameless. At your age, you're still trying to flirt with men like some young girl. She shot me a venomous glare. Lu Jihua looked somewhat awkward and was about to speak, but I cut in first. You've got the wrong idea. I checked the time, growing impatient. Excuse me, I need to get through. I have things to do. Ha, who does she think she is? A classmate sneered at me. Lin Wan, don't be ungrateful. It's your good fortune that Manager Lu is willing to help you. How dare you refuse? You have things to do. What could you possibly have to do in a place like this? Applying to be the school janitor. The crowd burst into laughter, full of mockery and scorn directed at me. These people are insane, I thought, shaking my head. I couldn't be bothered to waste any more words on them. Clutching my reading glasses, I turned and walked away, but Lu Jihua stepped forward and grabbed my arm. Lin Wan, how about you come work as a live-in maid for my family? You're diligent and good at taking care of people. You'd be perfect for managing the daily routines and meals for my whole household, young and old. I know you can't have children. Tell you what, you serve my family well, and when you're too old to work, I'll have my son take care of you until the end. I wrenched my hand from his grasp, staring at the man before me in disbelief. Mr. Liu, you should get your head examined. What you just said has truly plumbed new depths of my understanding. I sneered, and besides, who the hell is your son? What makes you think he's fit to be my caretaker? Remembering the final will from my past life, I felt nothing but disgust. How dare you insult my son? Yan Dan's face turned livid with rage. She took a step forward and slapped me across the face before I could react. My cheek burned with a stinging pain. For a renowned medical doctor, she was throwing a fit like a common fishwife. I looked at her coldly. I have a husband and a son. I don't need anyone else worrying about my retirement. You have a husband and a son. Yan Dan looked as if she had just heard the most ridiculous joke. She shook off my hand, her face full of scorn. Lin Wan, have you forgotten? When you were running all over the world getting tests done, I was the one who personally diagnosed you as infertile. You're telling me you have a husband and a child. Who are you trying to fool? A wave of murmurs swept through the crowd. No wonder Chairman Liu broke up with her and married Dr. Yan. Dr. Yan is a leading authority in reproductive medicine. The number of complex cases she's solved is countless. For Lin Wan to still be so stubborn is truly eye-opening. Exactly, Dr. Yan is a renowned expert in reproductive medicine with countless industry awards. Lin Wan really has some nerve, daring to say such things in front of Dr. Yan. I looked at Yan Dan with a perfectly calm expression. Do you know how many years you get for medical fraud? Yan Dan's expression froze for a split second, a flicker of panic flashing in his eyes. What fraud? Just as I suspected, in my past life, Yan Dan was my primary physician. From the initial diagnosis of infertility to finally giving up on treatment, I struggled for a full 3 years. And the one in charge of my diagnosis and treatment the entire time was Yan Dan. It was because I trusted her completely, and she was the leading authority in that field, so I never questioned the details, let alone uncovered her secret dealings with Liu Zhihua. Yan Dan's face grew increasingly grim. She forced a calm smile. Lin Wan, have you lost your mind in anger? I'm the expert here. If I say you can't conceive, then you can't. Fabricating results, what a joke. Don't you dare spout nonsense here. Slandering me carries legal consequences. Oh really? Then how do you explain my son? You don't even have a son. The crowd gradually fell silent, their eyes turning in unison toward me. I sighed, took out my phone, and put the call on speaker. Son, are you busy? A pleasant young man's voice came through the phone. Hey mom, what's up? Oh, nothing much. I just wanted to ask. It's the school's centennial celebration today. And your father will be giving a speech later. Are you coming? Of course I'm coming. I'm a specially invited guest of the school. You know, there was a familiar, faint hint of pride in his tone, and I couldn't help but smile. That boy of mine has been outstanding since he was little. Never gave me a moment's worry. I'm here to drop off some reading glasses for your dad. Perfect timing. I'll be there any minute. Where are you? I'll come find you right now. Alright, see you in a bit. After hanging up the phone, I looked at Yan Dan with a knowing, half-smile. Did you hear that? That was my son, Jiang Minan. He's the CEO of the Jiang Group and one of the distinguished guests for the school anniversary. Lin Wan's son is Jiang Minan. That can't be possible. But then again, even though Lin Wan's outfit isn't much to look at, that watch on her wrist seems to be quite valuable. Everyone started talking at once. And the looks they gave me shifted from mockery to confusion. Only Yan Dan let out a cold sneer, as if she had just heard the funniest joke in the world. Lin Wan, if you're going to make up a story, at least make it believable. Jiang Minan, the CEO of the Jiang Group and the richest man in City A, is your son. Why don't you just say you're Empress Wu Zetian while you're at it? Do you even know who Jiang Minan's father is? That's the renowned Professor Jiang, a towering figure in academia. He's even giving a speech at the school's centennial celebration today, and you claim to be Professor Zhang's wife. How could you possibly be worthy? That's absolutely hilarious. Liu Zhihua also looked at me with a helpless expression as he tried to talk me down. Lin Wan, stop this nonsense. Seriously, I know you're just saying these things to get a rise out of me, but think about it. Professor Jiang, a man of his stature, what would he ever see in you? That's such a pathetic lie. I know you're jealous of Yan Dan, but don't pick a fight with her. She's out of your league. You should just leave. As he spoke, he grabbed my hand and used his body to push through the crowd for me. I know he thinks I'm lying too. After all, I spent 50 years with him in our past life, both of us committed to being dinks. He was convinced I must be infertile. and because of that, the moment he was reborn into this life, he chose to abandon me. Mom, a familiar voice called out. I turned around quickly and saw my son walking towards me, his face glistening with sweat but his steps light and brisk. Minnan, I took in the smudges on his face and the ill-fitting security guard uniform hanging loosely on his frame. Why are you dressed like this? So, this is your son, Jiang Minnan. Yan Dan looked at me with a faint, ambiguous smile. Lin Wan, where on earth did you find this actor? The quality is abysmal. Did he just rush over from another set still wearing his costume? Didn't he bother to find out who he's supposed to be playing? Son, are you alright? Ignoring Yandan, I grabbed Jiang Minan's hand and anxiously looked him up and down, terrified that something had happened to him. Mom, I'm fine. I just rescued a child who fell into the water on my way here and got my clothes soaked. I didn't have time to go back and change, so I borrowed a set of clothes from a security guard and rushed over. He patted my hand and reassured me, don't worry. I've already asked my assistant to bring me a change of clothes. As long as you're okay. I breathed a sigh of relief. Jiang Minnan had lost count of how many times she had stepped up like this. Ever since she was a child, I was long used to it. Sensing the hostile stares from all around, Jiang Minnan tightened her grip on my hand and shielded me behind her. Mom, what's going on? It's nothing, just a bunch of bored people. I really didn't want to drag my son into this. And old Zhang's speech was about to start. We couldn't afford to waste any more time. Come on, son, your father is waiting. With that, I took Jiang Minnan by the hand and made to leave. Yan Dan wasn't about to let this golden opportunity to humiliate me slip away. She threw her arms out, blocking our path, and deliberately raised her voice. Oh, trying to sneak off already, feeling guilty, are we? Lin Wan, don't take this the wrong way, but if you're going to hire an actor, at least get a decent one. This guy's acting is pathetic, dressed in a security guard uniform, face all grubby, the whole look just screams cheap, and you have the nerve to claim he's Jiang Minnan. Give me a break. Well, he's a perfect match for you. No wonder your mother and son. A wave of raucous laughter erupted around them. Ugh, is Lin Wan out of her mind? Who does she think she is? Picking a fight with Mrs. Liu. She really has no sense of her own place. Exactly. And claiming her son is Jiang Minnan, the richest man in City A. As if, couldn't she at least make up a believable story? If I were her, I'd stop all this nonsense and just settle down to serve the Liu family. They're even willing to have their own son take care of her in her old age and see her off when she passes. And what does she do? She won't even take the olive branch when it's offered. Talk about being ungrateful. Lu Zhihua looked at me with a complicated expression and finally spoke after hearing this. Lin Wan, I know I wronged you by not choosing you in this life, and I'm sorry for the hardship it caused you. But I never imagined you could be this stubborn, to the point of hiring someone to put on this little show for me. As he spoke, he pulled 200 yuan from his wallet and tossed it at Jiang Minnan's feet. Kid, take the money and get lost. Don't make a fool of yourself here. Jiang Minnan's gaze turned icy as he gave Lu Zhihua a cold, sweeping glance. Mr. Lu, is it? If I'm not mistaken, the Lu Group just submitted a bid proposal, hoping to secure a major project from our Jiang subsidiary. Correct. Lu Zhihua was taken aback by the question and began to reassess Jiang Minnan. Despite wearing a loose-fitting security guard uniform, the young man carried an air of quiet authority. Could he really be Jiang Minnan? It was all over the news recently. What's so strange about knowing that? Yan Dan chuckled behind her hand. You don't actually think you're Jiang Minnan, do you? Take a look at yourself. Jiang Minnan gave a cold, disdainful laugh and continued. Normally, I wouldn't bother with a small project like this. But as things stand, there's absolutely no need for us to work with the Lu Group anymore. With that, he took out his phone and made a call right in front of everyone. Hello, Xiaosu, send the project process for the launch event to all our branch offices. Tell them to reject the Lu Group's proposal outright, and make sure it's clearly stated in all future Jiang Group external communications. We will never cooperate with the Lu Group. The onlookers fell silent for a moment, then erupted into even louder laughter. Oh my god. I'm dying. This kid is really getting into character. Are all the extras this dedicated nowadays? What a waste he's not a full-time actor. Lin Wan, your money's not well spent. This guy's acting is way too over the top. Lu Zhihua shot a contemptuous glance at Jiang Minnan, as if he'd just heard the biggest joke of the century. Kid, there's a limit to your tall tales. Who do you think you're fooling with this act? Yan Dan also scoffed. Exactly. The Jiang Group will never cooperate with our Lu Corporation. Does Chairman Jiang know you're out here spinning yarns? Seeing the ceremony was about to begin, I stopped Jiang Minnan, who was still itching to argue with them. Son, take these reading glasses to your father first. then go change your clothes. I'll handle things here. But, Mom, be a good girl and go ahead. Don't keep your father waiting." Though uneasy about leaving me alone, Jiang Minnan obediently left. I knew Yan Dan was determined not to let me off easy today. But the ceremony was about to start. Once my husband, Jiang Qinhan, showed up, my identity would be proven beyond doubt. But there was another reason I sent Jiang Minnan away. I didn't want my son to hear what I was about to say next. "Mr. Liu, I don't know why you're so caught up in your own sentimental delusions, thinking you've wronged me, but let me tell you, I've had a good life. In fact, I should thank you for not marrying me. As for the past, sorry, but I've long since turned that page." My words made Lu Jihua's face darken, a flicker of shock and humiliation flashing in his eyes. "Lin Wan, I wasn't finished. I was willing to let it go, but you and your wife keep bringing up my infertility, humiliating me over and over. Since that's the case, I will seriously consider pursuing legal action against you. Expect to hear from my lawyer." Yan Dan burst out laughing. "Lin Wan, who do you think you're scaring? You can afford a lawyer." I smiled faintly. "Actually, I am a lawyer." Yan Dan doubled over with laughter as if she'd just heard the most absurd joke, tears nearly streaming from her eyes. "Oh my god, I'm dying. Lin Wan, have you lost your mind? A lawyer? If you're a lawyer, then I'm the first lady." The surrounding guests joined in the uproarious laughter, their faces full of doubt at my words. "Exactly, Lin Wan, stop your boasting. If you're a lawyer, then I could be a judge." Looks like she's read one too many novels and started picturing herself as the heroine, hasn't she? Yan Dan stopped laughing and asked with feigned curiosity, "Hey, I've heard that impersonating a celebrity's relative is a criminal offense, right? Lin Wan, tell me, how many years would someone get for pretending to be President Zhang's mother, or Professor Zhang's wife?" Meeting her malicious gaze, I enunciated each word clearly. "Instead of worrying about others, you should take a good hard look at yourself and think about how many years you'd get for medical fraud and illegal surrogacy." The moment the words left my mouth, Yan Dan's face instantly drained of all color. She stared at me in disbelief, her eyes wide with terror and panic. The laughter around us died instantly. Everyone exchanged bewildered glances, unsure of what had just happened. What are you talking about?" Yan Dan's voice trembled, her eyes darting around, unable to meet my gaze. "You know perfectly well whether I'm talking nonsense or not. Yan Dan, did you really think no one would find out about the things you've done?" "Lin Wan, what are you implying?" Lu Jihua asked with a cold expression. I smiled and looked at Lu Jihua. "What if I told you that the one who was infertile all those years ago wasn't me? In this life, after being reborn, I married Jiang Qinhan and successfully gave birth to our son, Jiang Minnan. From that moment on, I knew the infertility had never been my problem. In my past life, Lu Jihua's son from outside the marriage claimed he was conceived through IVF. After some investigation, I discovered that Lu Jihua actually had congenital low sperm motility. Unless they underwent second-generation IVF, natural conception was impossible, and during our premarital checkup, Yan Dan deliberately altered our reports. She changed the person diagnosed with infertility to me. Following this lead, I continued to dig deeper. It was discovered that Yan Dan's private hospital had been running an illegal surrogacy operation. Well, do I need to spell it out for you, Mr. Liu? Perhaps recalling the cause and effect from his past life, Lu Jihua's expression gradually darkened. The people gathered around began to murmur and gossip. What does she mean by that? Isn't she the one who's infertile? Wasn't her report diagnosed by Dr. Yen? Exactly, Dr. Yen is a leading expert in reproductive medicine. If she made the diagnosis, how could it possibly be wrong? But come to think of it, didn't Lin Wan mention something from the start about Dr. Yen being involved in medical fraud? And what's this about illegal surrogacy? Is Dr. Yen really involved in something that unlawful? Yandan's eyes bore into me with pure venom. Her gaze as sharp and poisonous as a blade dipped in toxin. "Lin Wan, you bitch." She lunged at me, her hand flying up to deliver another slap across my face. I dodged it, but she seemed to have gone mad, shoving me to the ground, grabbing my collar, and tearing at me with all her might. "You're nothing but a lying fraud. Impersonating Professor Zhang's wife is bad enough, but how dare you stand here and spread vicious rumors about me? I'll tear your lying mouth to shreds." Yan Dan roared, her face contorted with a fury that bordered on insanity, as she assaulted me. She also worked to incite the rowdy crowd around us. "Don't believe a word she says. Don't let her fool any of you. How dare she impersonate Professor Zhang's wife and President Zhang's mother? Let's grab her and take her to the police station. If Professor Jiang and President Jiang knew what we're doing, they'd be grateful." Spurred on by her words, someone actually took a step forward. The situation was on the verge of spiraling completely out of control. Yan Dan hissed venomously in my ear, "Lin Wan, you think you can challenge me? I threw you into the abyss once, and I can make you wish you were dead just as easily now. Stop." A commanding yet refined male voice rang out, and the entire room fell silent. Everyone turned toward the sound and couldn't help but gasp in shock. Professor Jiang, the eminent titan of academia, the heavyweight guest of honor for tonight's gala. Jiang Qinhan was now storming towards me with a face full of fury, but Jiang Minnan, being younger after all, was much faster on his feet. By now, he had changed back into his suit, his tall, straight figure rushing towards me. "Get out of the way, I dare you to lay another finger on my mother." He shoved Yan Dan aside and helped me up. "Mom, I'm sorry I'm late, you shouldn't have had to go through this." Behind him, a crowd of people in black suits came pouring in. It was Jiang Minnan's assistant, leading a team of bodyguards who swiftly surrounded everyone. "Oh my god, he really is Jiang Minnan, the CEO of the Jiang Group," someone gasped. "Did he just call Lin Wan mom?" "So, Lin Wan really is Jiang Minnan's mother, Professor Zhang's wife." Jiang Qinhan quickly walked over to me and put a firm arm around my shoulder. Wan, are you alright? This is all my fault. I shouldn't have let you come today." "It's fine," I reassured him, "I'm okay." I wasn't really hurt at all. Yan Dan is all show and no substance, a hollow vase. How could she possibly be as fit as someone like me who trains year-round? Accompanying Jiang Qinhan was the school principal, who looked at me with a face full of remorse and apologized. "My apologies, Attorney Lin. We weren't aware of your visit today and failed to receive you properly. The school also bears responsibility for what happened." I responded with a gracious smile, indicating that I didn't blame the school. Upon hearing our conversation, the surrounding crowd erupted in another wave of murmurs and commotion. "Attorney Lin, I can't believe Lin Wan is a top-tier lawyer. That's incredible. Who would have thought Lin Wan is actually married with a son, and a top lawyer to boot? Lu Jihua just asked her to be a live-in nanny. How ridiculous is that?" "Exactly, if we're being honest. Yan Dan isn't even fit to be Lin Wan's assistant. Yet she kept humiliating her without letting up." Jiang Qinhan turned his gaze toward Yan Dan, his eyes as cold and sharp as a blade. "Madam, you just assaulted my wife in public. You will pay for this." His eyes were filled with pure rage. In 30 years of marriage, I had never seen him this angry. No sooner had he spoken than his assistant behind him took out a phone and dialed the police. Yan Dan trembled in fear, her face as pale as a sheet, and she began to stammer, Professor Jiang. This must be a misunderstanding. I didn't know she was your wife." Jiang Minnan let out a cold laugh. "A misunderstanding? When you thought I was a security guard and humiliated me and my mother in front of all these people, why didn't you call that a misunderstanding? Are my eyes and everyone's ears just for decoration?" Yan Dan took 2 steps back. I am so sorry, President Jiang. I just acted on impulse." She then turned to Jiang Qinhan, pleading tearfully, "Professor Jiang, I'm sorry, I failed to recognize your esteemed status and offended your wife. I deserve to die. Please, spare me this once. I can compensate. I can apologize. I'm begging you. Don't call the police. Jihua, say something for me, please." Yet Lu Jihua just stared at me blankly, his eyes filled with utter disbelief. I know him all too well. He must have thought that after he left me, I was doomed to a life of loneliness and a miserable old age. Little did he expect that I would not only marry a man of great renown but also have an exceptionally outstanding son. Even in this life, I am far more powerful and accomplished than I was in my last. In his vacant eyes, I saw clear and unmistakable regret. A month later, Yan Dan was reported for illegal surrogacy and ended up behind bars. The private hospital she had painstakingly built was also shut down. In the news, the once bustling entrance of the hospital was sealed shut with bright red notices. This internationally renowned reproductive medicine expert is now infamous, convicted of assault, illegal surrogacy, and medical fraud. All past glory has vanished, replaced by cold prison bars and endless regret. Meanwhile, Lu Jihua's company is on the brink of bankruptcy, besieged by the Jiang conglomerate. The day he came to see me, it was pouring rain. I had just finished dealing with a few tricky cases, rubbed my tired eyes, and was about to get up for a short break. My assistant, however, informed me that someone was waiting for me at the door, and had been for quite some time. Looking down from my office window through the misty rain, the figure holding an umbrella at the main gate looked utterly forlorn. "How long has he been waiting?" I asked. "He's been here since this morning, pacing back and forth at the door. He hasn't even gone to eat." I let out a sigh. Ever since that incident at the school anniversary, Lu Jihua has called me countless times. I just don't answer them. He kept texting me from different numbers, so I blocked every single one. To my surprise, he actually found out where I work and showed up. I took Lu Jihua to a nearby coffee shop. The moment he sat down, he couldn't wait to speak. Wan, I was the one who reported Yan Dan's hospital for illegal surrogacy. And her son isn't even mine. She got what she deserved. Can you ever forgive me? I looked calmly at the disheveled man before me. Lu Jihua, once so full of vigor and ambition, now bore a face etched with hardship, his eyes brimming with remorse and supplication. Wan, I know I was wrong. In our past life, I wronged you. I deceived you for 50 years. You were so good to me, tirelessly caring for me right up to my final moment, and yet, I treated you that way. I was a monster. But I was deceived too. If Yan Dan hadn't altered that report, we would have had children and lived a happy life together. That's why I had her sent to prison. She deserved it. I know there must still be a place for me in your heart. Can we start over? I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. I promise I'll treat you right. His voice trembled, choked with emotion, as if he were about to fall to his knees before me at any second. I listened to his words in silence, my heart utterly unmoved. The passions and resentments of our past life are long settled. To me now, he is nothing more than a passing stranger. Lu Jihua, do you really think there's still a place for you in my heart? Don't flatter yourself. My voice was calm, yet laced with a cold, cutting edge. I truly did love you in my past life. For those 50 years we were dinks. I told myself over and over that it was real love, but in the end, that so-called love was nothing but an empty, hollow lie. In this life, I have a husband who adores me and a brilliant son. My life is full and happy. Your talk of making amends means nothing to me. As for your suggestion of a fresh start, that's even more laughable. From the very day we were reborn, any possibility between us ceased to exist. My tone was firm and unwavering. Lu Jihua's face instantly turned deathly pale. But he refused to give up. Wan. I know you're still angry with me, but you can't let my mistake make you doubt everything I feel for you. After 50 years of weathering life's storms together, can you truly say you feel nothing for me? Do you dare claim you have no lingering attachment at all? I already sent Yan Dan to prison for you. Why do you keep dwelling on the past? Can't we just start over? Yan Dan stood by Lu Jihua for 30 years, and he could just turn around and have her thrown in jail. A person like that is no different from who he was in his past life, just as heartless and ungrateful, quick to turn his back on those who helped him. I frowned at him. Lu Jihua, do I really need to spell it out for you? What we had is ancient history, a closed chapter. I'm not angry. I'm not nostalgic. And I certainly don't have any feelings for you anymore. Yan Dan absolutely got what she deserved. But what makes you think that just because she's been punished, you and I get to start over? Lu Jihua refused to believe it. His eyes reddened as he looked at me. Wan, I don't believe you feel nothing for me. We were together for 50 years. How can that not measure up to your 30 years with Jiang Qinhan? Or is it that you're still worried about Jiang Minin? You're afraid that if she isn't my child, I'll treat you the same way I did in our past life, right? Wan, I won't. I truly know I was wrong. I felt deeply that I couldn't communicate with Lu Jihua. I simply couldn't be bothered to say another word and stood up to leave, but Lu Jihua grabbed my hand and wouldn't let go, babbling nonsense like a cornered animal. Wan, I don't believe you could fall in love with someone else. You only married Jiang Qinhan to spite me, didn't you? Jiang Qinhan is several years older than you. I know you don't like older men, so you have no real feelings for him at all, right? He grew more and more agitated as he spoke, even falling to his knees, weeping bitterly. Wan, I have nothing left in this life. You're all I have. Please, don't leave me. I'm begging you. Let's start over. I'm the one who's right for you. You and Jiang Qinhan will never be happy together. I had no choice but to call the police again. Jiang Qinhan came to the police station to pick me up. After hearing what happened, he was so furious he tried to hit Lu Jihua right then and there. I quickly stopped him and said, "Oh, Lao Jiang, really, you're not a young man anymore, and you're still so hot-headed." Jiang Qinhan fumed. He's been harassing my wife. How could I not be furious, seeing him this angry? I couldn't help but think back to when I first met Jiang Qinhan. Back then, I had just started working at the law firm and was often working late into the night. On my way home from work, I was targeted by a few thugs. It was Jiang Qinhan who stepped in and saved me. Who would have thought that a sense of righteous courage could be hereditary? Jiang Minin's temperament is exactly like his father's. At Jiang Qinhan's insistence, the police demanded that Lu Jihua promise to stop harassing me. Lu Jihua, I'm warning you, stay away from my wife. If you bother her again, you'll have me to deal with, I sighed helplessly, offering Lu Jihua one final piece of advice: let it go, for your own sake, and for mine. From now on, you go your way, and I'll go mine. Let's have nothing more to do with each other. With that, I turned and left with Jiang Qinhan. I didn't hear from Lu Jihua again until 6 months later. An unknown number called, and when I answered, a voice that was both strange and familiar came through. Wan, you need to come to the hospital to see Jihua. He has cancer. He doesn't have much time left. She was Lu Jihua's mother, my mother-in-law from my past life. Although Lu Jihua had wronged me in that past life, his mother had actually treated me quite well. After much deliberation, I still went to the hospital. The hospital room was filled with the smell of antiseptic. Lu Jihua lay on the bed, his complexion sallow and his body gaunt. I remember that in the final years of my previous life, I spent almost all my time in the hospital room, keeping Lu Jihua company. By then, my mother-in-law had already passed away, and I was the only one left to care for Lu Jihua, to cover his medical expenses. I juggled multiple part-time jobs while also tending to him at the hospital. I was constantly exhausted, pushing myself to the point of breaking my own health. Yet, Lu Jihua kept it from me, secretly leaving the hidden inheritance to his son. Wan, you're here. Lu Jihua's voice was hoarse and so weak it was almost inaudible. The man who was once so full of vigor and ambition was now ravaged by illness beyond recognition. When he saw me, a flicker of light passed through his clouded eyes. He struggled to lift his hand, but it fell back limply. His mother sat by the bed, her eyes rimmed red, and choked out the words, Wan, Jihua, he's in the late stages of cancer, the doctor said, looking at Lu Jihua lying there on the hospital bed, hanging on by a thread. I was overcome with a tumult of emotions. In my past life, he didn't die of cancer until he was in his 70s. In this life, it's 20 years too soon. Wan, Lu Jihua struggled to speak. I know I've wronged you. I was the one at fault in our past life, and now I'm getting my just desserts, but I'm filled with so much regret. I regret not cherishing you properly in our last life, and I regret giving up on you in this one. Wan, if we could live our lives over one more time, would you still be with me? He looked at me, his eyes brimming with hope. No, I shook my head, mercilessly shattering his illusion. No matter how many second chances we get, I could never be with you again. You've never changed, not in your last life, and not in this one. You always choose what's best for you. So even if there's a next time, I don't believe you'll ever be different. The light in Lu Jihua's eyes went out, his face ashen. I have one last request. Could you please, take care of me one last time, like you used to, for my final days? Let's break up. Swipping. I shook my head, still refusing him. I can't go down that same road again. I'll hire a good caregiver for you. Consider it my final act of kindness. With that, I turned and left the hospital room. The last I heard of Lu Jihua was when his lawyer contacted me to read his will. His mother called to tell me that, on his deathbed, Lu Jihua had left his entire estate to me. I did not accept the inheritance and left it all to his mother. The moment I stepped out of the law firm, sunlight washed over my face, its warmth dispelling the last lingering chill in my heart. With this will, it felt as if a final period had been placed on the past. I had finally, completely, said goodbye to the turmoil of my former life. Not far away, Jiang Qinhan was waiting for me by the car, a gentle smile on his face. I walked over, and he naturally reached out to take my bag, asking in a low voice, "All settled?" I gave a slight nod and leaned my head against his shoulder. "Thank you, Qinhan. Having you in my life is truly wonderful." He gently wrapped his arm around my shoulder. "Silly, being able to marry you is the greatest fortune of my life." A wave of warmth washed over my heart. In my past life, I wasted 50 years on the wrong person. In this life, I have a loving husband and an outstanding son. Peaceful and beautiful. This is what it truly means to be a winner in life. Story 2. Let's get divorced. Krushin stood at the door, his military uniform impeccably pressed, his expression as grave as if he were heading to the battlefield. I was mending his military socks when I heard those words, and the needle and thread in my hands came to a halt, not because I was shocked, but because I had long known this day would come. Reborn back in 1975, with memories from my past life. I knew exactly what he would say to me today. Why? I continued sewing the socks with my head down, my voice so calm it even scared me. "Luna Sue, she needs a proper status." Krushin's voice tightened a bit. "She's pregnant." The needle pricked my finger, and a drop of blood fell onto the white military sock, blooming into a red flower. In my past life, when I heard these words, I cried my heart out. kneeling on the ground and clinging to his leg, begging him not to leave. At that time, I didn't know it was all just a play orchestrated by him and Luna Sue. Luna Sue was never pregnant. She just wanted the status of an officer's wife to secure a transfer to work at a provincial hospital, and foolish me, I actually went through with the divorce and even gave them the house I got when we married. Less than half a year after the divorce, Luna Sue had a miscarriage and was smoothly transferred away, leaving Crucian alone to wallow in regret. By that time, I had already married someone else and refused to look back at him. Say something, Crucian urged impatiently when I didn't respond. I slowly raised my head and looked at the man who had once made me love him to the point of life and death. The face beneath the military cap was sharply defined, with deep-set eyes. Indeed, a handsome man. Pity that beneath that attractive exterior lay a heart devoid of affection. All right, I smiled. But I have one condition. Crucian froze, clearly not expecting me to agree so readily. According to their script, I should cry and make a scene, should stubbornly refuse to agree, so that he could showcase his deep affection and helplessness. What conditions? He tentatively asked. The house goes to me, and you leave this month's salary too. I stood up, brushing off the loose threads from my apron. Also, the divorce papers must clearly state that it was you, Crucian, who initiated the divorce, and it has nothing to do with me. You, Crucian's expression changed. How could you do this? How about it? I tilted my head to look at him. You're the one who wants a divorce, not me forcing you. As a woman, I need a place to live, don't I? But Luna Sue is pregnant and needs a home more. Then go rent a place, I said, putting away the sewing basket, or she can stay with her parents. Crucian's face turned red with anger. Lynn, don't go too far. It's you who's being unreasonable, I sneered. Coming in the middle of the night demanding a divorce and expecting me to leave with nothing. Commander Shen, do you take me for a fool? Truth be told, in my past life, I was indeed a fool. For love, I gave up my teaching job in the county town and followed him to this remote military base. For 3 years of marriage, I took meticulous care of his daily needs and managed the social dynamics of the military compound flawlessly. Half of the credit for his promotion from deputy company commander to regiment commander belongs to me, yet in the end, for the sake of a White Lotus nurse, he abandoned me without hesitation. I know you hate me, but I don't hate you. I interrupted him. I just think that if we're going to part ways, it should be done cleanly and clearly. Crucian remained silent for a long time before finally nodding. Fine. The house is yours, but the salary too, I said firmly. Think about it. You suddenly bring up divorce. As a woman, I'll need to find a new job. I'll need some living expenses, won't I? But Luna Sue and I have to live too. That's none of my business. I turned and walked toward the kitchen. You young, educated folks shouldn't have trouble supporting yourselves. In the kitchen, ginseng chicken soup was still simmering, a dish I'd prepared especially to nourish him. Now it seems more fitting to keep the soup for myself. Behind me came the heavy footsteps of Crucian, followed by the sound of the door closing. I know he went to discuss it with Luna Sue. Holding the soup bowl, I slowly sipped the delicious chicken broth, feeling more relaxed than ever before. In my past life, I shed too many tears for him. In this life, I don't want to waste a single drop more. The moonlight outside the window was just right, casting dappled shadows on the plane trees and the military compound. Starting tomorrow, I will begin to reshape my life. This time, I will live for myself. Early the next morning, I heard Luna Sue coming to find Crucian. From the next room came the sound of a woman sobbing and a man comforting her, creating a scene of tender warmth. I was in the kitchen cooking porridge, stirring slowly with a spoon in my hand, my mind as calm as still water. Cruz, how could she be so unreasonable? Luna Sue's voice was soft and gentle, but even through the wall, I could hear every word clearly. She demands the house and the salary just like that, without any consideration for our difficulties. Luna, don't cry. Crucian's voice sounded helpless. I'll think of something. But Cruz, the baby in my belly can't wait any longer. Luna Sue cried even harder. If we can't be together properly soon, I really don't know what to do. Her acting skills are as superb as ever. In my past life, I was completely fooled by her pitiful appearance, thinking she was truly a kind and innocent girl. It wasn't until later that I learned she had been looking for military officer boyfriends ever since graduating from nursing school, dating 3 people in succession and breaking up with each one because their rank wasn't high enough. Crucian was her 4th target and also the highest-ranking one. She put in a lot of effort to reel in this big fish. First, she deliberately arranged a chance encounter at the hospital, then took the initiative to care for Crucian when he fell ill. and finally climbed into his bed while I was away visiting my parents. The entire scheme was flawlessly calculated. The only unexpected thing was that Krushin was unwilling to abandon his lawful wife for her. So she had no choice but to fabricate a pregnancy lie to force him into divorce. Maybe I should go talk to Lin, Luna Su suddenly said. Perhaps if I apologize to her in person, she might soften a bit. No, Krushin's voice was urgent. Your current physical condition can't handle any stress. But Cruz, I carried the bowl of porridge out of the kitchen, deliberately making a lot of noise. The next room immediately fell silent. After a while, the sound of a door opening and footsteps could be heard. Clearly, Luna Su had left. I slowly sipped the plain porridge, waiting for Krushin to come over and continue last night's conversation. Sure enough, he pushed the door open and came in within less than 10 minutes. Let's discuss this again. Krushin sat down at the table, looking somewhat haggard. The house isn't a problem, but the salary, could you ask for a little less? Why? I put down the bowl of porridge. Does Captain Shin not earn much? No, it's just that Luna Su needs proper nutrition now, and the medical expenses are quite high. Oh, I nodded. Then you should definitely pay me. What do you mean? Think about it. If I don't have living expenses, I'll have to report it to the organization, right? I smiled at him. When the political commissar asks, how will you explain it? By saying you refused to give your wife living expenses because of your mistress. Krushin's face instantly turned pale. The military places the utmost importance on conduct issues. If news were to spread that he abandoned his wife and child, forget about promotion, he wouldn't even be able to keep his current position as regiment commander. Don't be like this. His voice trembled slightly. Let's part on good terms and not make this too ugly. I'm not making a scene. I blinked innocently. You're the one who asked for a divorce. I'm just making some reasonable requests, but with demands like these, how can Luna Su and I live? That's none of my business. I stood up and started clearing the dishes. Since you had the courage to be together, you should have the resolve to face the consequences. Krushin remained silent for a long time before finally gritting his teeth and saying, fine, I'll give you half of the salary. All of it, I insisted firmly. And it's for this month, not any future ones, Lin. He finally couldn't hold back and slammed the table. Don't push your luck. It's you who keep pushing your luck, I said coldly, staring at him. Krushin, search your conscience. How have I treated you these past 3 years? He opened his mouth but couldn't utter a word. Over these 3 years, I've indeed been a flawless wife. I did the laundry, cooked meals, took care of daily needs, and even helped him navigate various social relationships. My reputation among the officers' families was impeccable. I have done nothing wrong to you. You were the one who betrayed our marriage first. My voice was calm, but each word cut like a knife. Now you want a divorce, and I agree, but it must be on my terms. If you don't agree, then we won't divorce. No divorce. Krushin was stunned. That's right, no divorce. I smiled. I'm in no hurry anyway. I have plenty of time to drag this out. As Luna Su's belly grows day by day. Let's see who gets more desperate then. In truth, I knew perfectly well that Luna Su wasn't pregnant at all. The reason they were in such a hurry to divorce was because there was a deadline. Luna Su has already secured a job at a provincial hospital and must transfer there within 2 months as a military officer's family member, or the opportunity will be lost. So no matter what, they will agree to my terms. Sure enough. Krushin's expression changed several times before he finally nodded and said, fine, it's all up to you. I felt secretly pleased, but on the surface, I maintained my calm demeanor. Then let's go to the Civil Affairs Department tomorrow to complete the procedures. Tomorrow? So soon? Of course it's urgent. I looked at him with a half-smile. Didn't you say Luna Su is pregnant? The sooner we marry, the sooner her reputation will be cleared. Krushin had nothing to say and could only nod in agreement. Watching him walk away dejectedly, I felt particularly pleased. In my past life, I humbled myself for him for 3 years. In this life, it's his turn to pay the price for his choices. On the way to the Civil Affairs Department, Luna Su also came along. She was wearing a light pink dress with a slender waist, not looking pregnant at all. However, people in 1975 had limited medical knowledge, and coupled with her superb acting skills, she managed to deceive them successfully. Sister Lin, Luna Su approached me on her own. Her eyes reddened. I'm sorry, it's all my fault. It is indeed your fault, I replied coolly, without any intention of being polite. She clearly didn't expect me to be so direct and paused for a moment before continuing. I know you hate me, but Cruz and I truly love each other. Oh, I nodded. And then, I hope you can understand us. After all, feelings can't be forced. I do understand, I smiled. That's why I agreed to the divorce, isn't it? Luna Sue was stunned again. All the arguments she had prepared were completely useless, according to her imagination. I should have cried and made a scene, should have fought with her for attention, and then she could have acted magnanimous and tolerant, winning more of Crucian's affection. But my reaction completely caught her off guard. Lynn sister, you really don't hate me? She tentatively asked. Why would I hate you? I glanced at her. You're not someone important anyway. The impact of these words was devastating, and Luna Sue's face instantly turned red. She wanted to retort but couldn't find a suitable reason. Though I am quite curious, I continued, what made you fall for Crucian? Just because he's the team leader? No, Luna Sue hurriedly denied. I truly love him. What do you love about him? I asked with great interest. His character. Or his looks. Luna Sue opened her mouth but couldn't find the right words to respond, because the truth was, she didn't love Crucian as a person, she only loved his position and future prospects. We're truly in love, was all she could repeat. If you truly love each other, then live your life well. I patted her on the shoulder. But let me give you a piece of advice, you should be careful with Crucian. What do you mean? He could abandon me for you, and in the future, he could abandon you for someone else, I said meaningfully. After all, it's easier to change the rivers and mountains than a person's nature. Luna Sue's expression changed. She clearly hadn't considered this possibility. Sister Lynn, don't try to drive a wedge between us. Drive a wedge? I blinked innocently. I'm just stating the facts. If a man can betray his lawful wife, what makes you think you're special? These words pierced Luna Sue's heart like needles, leaving her unable to retort. Because deep down, she actually shared the same fear. It was just something she usually refused to acknowledge. Crucian walked ahead, not hearing our conversation, still secretly excited about the upcoming life of freedom. The clerk at the Civil Affairs office was a middle-aged woman. When she saw the three of us coming together to file for divorce, a gossipy expression appeared on her face. Comrades, are you sure you want to divorce? She looked at me, then at Crucian. Can't any conflicts be resolved through discussion? No conflicts. I smiled brightly. He wants to marry this comrade, so we're divorcing by mutual agreement. The clerk's eyes immediately filled with contempt as he glared fiercely at Crucian. In this day and age, abandoning one's wife and children is morally condemnable. Crucian's face turned bright red, but he didn't dare say anything more. Have you both thought this through? Once the divorce certificate is issued, there's no going back. I've thought it through. I nodded. Please hurry. I have other matters to attend to. Although the clerk looked down on Crucian, the formalities still had to be completed. She took out the forms for us to fill in and then inquired in detail about the division of assets. The house goes to the wife, and the husband's salary this month is also given to her. The clerk seemed surprised. In that case, do you agree, sir? Crucian gritted his teeth and nodded. All right. Then we'll write it like this. The clerk recorded on the form, then looked up at Crucian. Comrade, I still have to advise you, family responsibilities are very important. Don't be so quick to abandon your wife who's shared your hardships. This made Crucian even more embarrassed, and Luna Sue also felt extremely awkward. Only I was in a cheerful mood and even chatted with the clerk for a bit. You're right, big sister. A man should have a sense of responsibility. The clerk's attitude toward me improved noticeably, and the paperwork was processed much faster. Half an hour later, the divorce certificate was ready. I took the divorce certificate and looked at it. It clearly stated divorce initiated by the husband, Crucian, which left me quite satisfied. Comrade Shen, Comrade Sue, I wish you happiness. I smiled and bid them farewell. If you have time, remember to invite me to your wedding banquet. With that, I strode away, leaving the two of them staring at each other in bewilderment. As I walked out of the Civil Affairs office, I felt an overwhelming sense of relief, as if a heavy shackle had been lifted from me. The feeling of freedom is truly wonderful. Returning to the military compound, I immediately became the center of attention. Although we handled the divorce with great discretion, news still spread like wildfire. After all, you can't wrap fire in paper. I heard you and Cruz got divorced. Aunt Wang, our neighbor, took my hand with a concerned look. What happened? He found someone new. So we split, I replied frankly, without any attempt to hide the truth. Aunt Wang's eyes widened in disbelief. Really, Cruz isn't that kind of person. Appearances can be deceiving. Who knows? I smiled. But it's for the best. Better to find out early and move on. But what will you do alone? Aunt Wang asked worriedly. Should I introduce you to someone? Not for now. I'd like some time to myself. The news quickly spread throughout the military compound, and everyone's opinion of Crucian underwent a dramatic change. Originally respected for his strong work ethic and upright character, He was now seen as a heartless man, especially among the officers' families. He was met with even greater disdain. Who would have thought Colonel Shen was this kind of person? You really can't judge a book by its cover. That nurse Sue is no good either. Always seducing married men. Lin does have backbone. Anyone else would have been crying by now. These rumors quickly reached Cruz Shen's ears, significantly undermining his authority in the military. The political commissar even had a special talk with him, asking what exactly was going on. Cruz Shen could only grit his teeth and claim it was due to emotional incompatibility. But the political commissar clearly didn't buy it. Comrade Cruz, as an officer, your personal conduct affects the image of the military, the political commissar said sternly. I hope you can handle your personal matters properly and not let them interfere with your work. This was essentially a warning, which put immense pressure on Cruz Shen. Meanwhile, Luna Sue wasn't faring any better. The nurses at the hospital whispered and pointed at her, making her feel extremely uncomfortable. Nurse Sue, I heard you're getting married to Commander Shen, someone asked deliberately. Yes, congratulations on your leap from nurse to commander's wife. The words sounded like congratulations, but the sourness and sarcasm in the tone were unmistakable to anyone. Luna Sue could only force herself to respond, though she felt deeply uncomfortable inside. She had thought marrying Cruz Shen would bring her a decent life, but she never expected to endure so much criticism. What she couldn't bear the most was that Cruz Shen's attitude toward her had also changed. He used to be gentle and considerate, but now he was always absent-minded and sometimes even lost his temper for no reason. Cruz, what's wrong? Luna Sue asked cautiously. Did I do something wrong? No. Cruz Shen's tone was cold. I'm just a bit tired. Let me massage your shoulders then. Luna Sue wanted to appear more considerate. No need. Cruz Shen pushed her hand away. I'd like some time alone. A wave of disappointment and unease washed over Luna Sue's heart. She began to wonder if Cruz Shen regretted his decision and wanted to reconcile with his ex-wife. This suspicion kept her up at night, yet she didn't dare to ask him directly. As for me, my days were quite leisurely. Without the burden of taking care of a husband, I could do whatever I liked every day. Reading books, painting, listening to the radio, or chatting with neighbors, life was fulfilling. Most importantly, I began making plans for the future. China in 1975 was undergoing tremendous changes. With many opportunities on the horizon, I needed to prepare in advance. First was studying. I had to brush up on both English and professional knowledge. Next is work. I've already used connections to secure a teaching position in the county town and will soon be able to return to work. Lastly, investments. Although it's not the right time yet, I've started paying attention to some promising industries. With the experience from my past life, I believe this life can be lived better. A month later, Cruz Shen and Luna Sue got married. The wedding was very simple, with only a few close colleagues invited. Even the military district commander didn't attend. At the time, this was quite a loss of face, as it was customary for the commander to make a symbolic appearance at the wedding of a regimental-level officer. But under the current circumstances, the commanders clearly didn't want to get involved. I was packing my luggage to move to the county town when I heard the news. I'd decided not to sell the house for now, keeping it for future rental or personal use. Are you really leaving? Sister Wang couldn't bear to see me go. Isn't it nice living here? It's easy to encounter awkward situations living here, I said with a smile. It's more comfortable back in the county town. That's true. After all, it's hard to avoid running into people you know. Sister Wang nodded. But if things don't work out for you outside, you can always come back anytime. Thank you, Sister Wang. I'll remember that. After packing my belongings, I hired a carriage to transport my things. Just as I was about to leave, Cruz Shen appeared. He was dressed in casual clothes, looking somewhat haggard and noticeably thinner than a month ago. Are you moving out? He stood at the door, his tone somewhat complicated. Yeah, I'm leaving right away. I continued packing without stopping to look at him. Why didn't you tell me? Why should I tell you? I retorted. We're already divorced. I don't need to report to you about where I go. Cruz Shen was silent for a moment, then said, can we talk? There's nothing to talk about. I placed the last piece of clothing into the suitcase. You're a married man now, and I'm a single woman. It's not appropriate for us to be alone together. I know you hate me. I told you. I don't hate you. I cut him off. I just don't see the need for any further contact. These words hurt Cruz Shen more than hatred, because they meant I had completely let go of this relationship. After all, we were once husband and wife. Ex-husband and ex-wife. I corrected him. And it was you who initiated the divorce. Cruz Shen's expression darkened, but he had no retort. At this moment, Luna Sue appeared. wearing the red coat from her wedding day, holding onto Cruz Shen's arm. Cruz, so you're here. She looked surprised when she saw me packing my luggage. Sister Lin, are you moving? Yes, I'm going back to work in the county town. I nodded politely. Congratulations on your wedding. Thank you. Luna Su smiled somewhat awkwardly. Sister Lin, if you encounter any difficulties outside, you can always come back to us. The words sounded beautiful, making her appear magnanimous and tolerant, but I detected the hypocrisy beneath them. There won't be any difficulties. I smiled. I'm doing just fine on my own. Luna Su's smile froze for a moment. She clearly wished I were struggling, as that would make her victory more meaningful. That's good. She clung tightly to Cruz Shen's arm. We'll be very happy too. I wish you well, I said sincerely, and indeed, I did wish them well, for I knew their good days would not last long. Luna Su would soon reveal her true colors, and Cruz Shen would pay the price for his choice. The coachman urged me that it was time to leave. I picked up the last box and prepared to go. Cruz Shen suddenly called out to me, "Take care." I turned back to look at him and noticed a complex emotion in his eyes. "You too." I nodded, then resolutely walked toward the carriage. From behind came Luna Su's voice, "Cruz, let's go home." I didn't look back because it was no longer my home. The carriage slowly left the military compound, and as I watched the familiar buildings fade into the distance, I felt no trace of nostalgia. A new life was about to begin, and I was filled with anticipation for the future. I had already secured a teaching position in the county town, allowing me to stand at the podium once again and do what I love. Moreover, with the experience from my past life, I know what will happen next and can prepare in advance. In this life, I want to live brilliantly and freely. After returning to the county town, I quickly adapted to the new life. The principal of County No. 1 High School is an old friend of my father's, who understands my situation well and is also very sympathetic. You've been wronged. The principal patted my shoulder. But it's for the best. Now you can focus on teaching. Thank you for your concern, Principal, I said sincerely. Don't mention it. We all know your capabilities. You were the best teacher in our school back then. Walking back into the classroom and seeing the eager students before me, I felt an unprecedented sense of fulfillment. This is what I truly enjoy doing. I teach high school English, and in this era where foreign language teachers are scarce, my skills are considered quite good. The students really enjoy my classes because I don't just teach textbook knowledge. I also share some extracurricular content. Teacher, why is your English so good? A student once asked curiously. I believe English will be very useful in the future. I replied with a smile. Study hard now, and it will definitely come in handy for you later. The students at that time probably couldn't imagine that just a few years later, English would become a compulsory subject in the college entrance exams and would grow extremely important after the reform and opening up. But I knew, which is why I placed special emphasis on teaching English. Besides teaching, I also began learning some new skills, for example, financial knowledge, because I knew there would be many investment opportunities in the future, for example, legal knowledge, as it is crucial in the business world. I also started paying attention to international affairs and economic trends. Although information channels were limited, I tried my best to gather all the materials I could find. My colleagues found it strange. Why would a female teacher be interested in such things? Why are you studying these things? Teacher Lee from the same office asked. Women should still care about family and children. I don't have a family or children right now, I replied with a smile. I need to find something to do. Then you should hurry up and find someone to marry and have children. That's the real priority. No rush. When the time is right, it will happen naturally. I'm actually very clear in my heart that I don't plan to get married again in the short term. My past experiences have given me a different perspective on marriage, and I'd rather focus on building my career first. Moreover, with my current standards, most men simply don't meet my expectations. After experiencing Cruz Shen's betrayal, my requirements for men have become very high. They must not only be capable but also have strong character. Such people are hard to come by, and I would rather stay single than settle for less. Life went on peacefully like this until 3 months later, when I received unexpected news. Luna Su had a miscarriage. The news was conveyed to me in a letter from Sister Wang, who described the incident in detail in her letter. You probably wouldn't guess, but Luna Su actually had a miscarriage. That day she was crying her heart out in the hospital, and Cruz Shen was frantic with worry. But strangely, some people at the hospital said she was never pregnant in the first place. This whole thing has caused quite a stir. Reading this, I couldn't help but laugh. Luna Su has finally been exposed, and even earlier than I expected. In our past life, She miscarried only after being married for half a year. This time, it happened 3 months ahead of schedule. Perhaps it was because my attitude was too calm, making her uneasy, so she was eager to rid herself of this lie, but what she didn't expect was that exposing the lie now would only make her more passive. Sure enough, in the subsequent letter, Sister Wang wrote, "Now everyone is talking about this matter. Some say Luna Su has been lying from the start, and Cruz Shen was deceived. Others say she was indeed pregnant but miscarried due to being too weak. Anyway, rumors are spreading wildly in the military district, and Cruz Shen can't even show his face anymore. I can imagine how Cruz Shen must be feeling now. He must have started doubting Luna Su. If Luna Su wasn't really pregnant, then he was deceived. He abandoned his wife for a lie. This kind of blow is devastating for any man, especially for someone as proud as Cruz Shen." A month later, I received another letter from Sister Wang. This time, the news was even more shocking. You'll never guess what happened. Cruz Shen and Luna Su had a huge fight. Luna Su was beaten black and blue, and now she's demanding a divorce. I frowned. Cruz Shen actually hit a woman. That was something I hadn't anticipated. In his previous life, though he was cold-hearted, he never showed any violent tendencies. Reading further, it said that Cruz Shen discovered Luna Su had never been pregnant and that she was secretly seeing another man. That day, when Cruz Shen came home from work, he happened to catch Luna Su and a male doctor in the house, hugging and clinging to each other. Cruz Shen went berserk on the spot, beating up the male doctor before turning his anger on Luna Su. This turn of events truly took me by surprise. Luna Su actually cheated so quickly. It seems she truly is a fickle woman, unable to restrain herself so soon after marriage. Now Luna Su is staying in the hospital, saying she wants to divorce Cruz Shen. Cruz Shen has agreed, but demands that Luna Su leave with nothing. The two are fighting fiercely. Even the political commissar has stepped in to mediate. Everyone says it's retribution. What they did to you is now being done to them. After reading the letter, I let out a long sigh. Truthfully, I don't take pleasure in Cruz Shen's misfortune, because this outcome benefits no one. If he had cherished our marriage back then, he wouldn't have come to this. But this also proves a truth: what goes around comes around. Cruz Shen left me for Luna Su, and now Luna Su has left him for someone else. This is karma. Another week passed, and I received an unexpected phone call. It was from Cruz Shen. "It's me," came his hoarse voice over the phone. "What's the matter?" I asked calmly. "I want to see you. There are some things I need to say to you." "I don't think it's necessary. Please." His voice sounded exhausted. "Just one meeting. I promise I won't bother you." I hesitated for a moment, but eventually agreed. Not because I still have feelings for him, but out of curiosity. I wanted to know what he would become after going through all these things. The agreed meeting place was a small tea house in the county town, very quiet and suitable for conversation. When I saw Cruz Shen, I almost didn't recognize him. He's lost a lot of weight. His face looks haggard, and the sparkle in his eyes is gone. He looks several years older overall. Thank you for agreeing to see me." He stood up to pull out the chair, but I waved him off and sat down myself. "Go ahead, what is it?" "I want to apologize to you." His voice was soft. "I'm sorry. What's the point of saying this now?" I picked up the teacup. "It's all in the past, I know, but I had to say it." There was pain in Cruz Shen's eyes. "Only now do I realize what I've lost." "What you lost was just a free nanny," I said coldly. "Now you have a new one. Nothing to regret." "No." Cruz Shen became agitated. "You're not just a nanny, you're my wife. The best woman in the world. It's a pity you realized it too late." I set down the teacup. "And I'm not a good woman either. A good woman is someone like Luna Su." At the mention of Luna Su, Cruz Shen's expression darkened. "She deceived me," he said through gritted teeth. "She lied to me from start to finish." "So what?" I looked at him. "What do you want to say?" I want to say I was wrong." Cruz Shen's voice trembled. "If I could do it over, I would never choose to leave you. But there are no ifs." I stood up. "Cruz Shen, let the past stay in the past. You have your path, and I have mine. From now on, we go our separate ways. Please give me another chance." Cruz Shen also stood up, trying to grab my hand. I quickly stepped back. "Impossible." "Why?" "We can start over." "Because I don't love you anymore." I looked at him calmly. "Cruz Shen, do you know what it means when water is spilled? Some things, once lost, can never be recovered." These words pierced Cruz Shen's heart like a knife, and his face instantly turned deathly pale. "But we had such wonderful memories. Those memories were destroyed by your own hands." I picked up my bag to leave. "Cruz Shen, you're on your own now." He shouted loudly behind me. I didn't look back and walked straight out of the tea house. The sun is shining brightly outside, yet my mood is complicated. Seeing Crucian in his current state doesn't bring me the satisfaction I imagined. Instead, there's a faint sense of sorrow. If he had been a little more rational back then, if he could have resisted temptation, our ending might have been completely different. But there are no ifs in this world, what's missed is missed. After returning from the tea house, I put the matter out of my mind. Crucian's pain and regret had nothing to do with me. I had my own life to live. 1976 was a special year, with many significant events about to unfold, and I needed to prepare for them. First, regarding work, my performance at school was becoming increasingly outstanding. Not only did the students like me, but the leadership also held me in high regard. Your teaching methods are very innovative. The principal praised me during a meeting. We should promote your experience. Thank you, principal. I will continue to work hard. Actually, my teaching methods aren't really innovative. They're just applications of some experiences from my past life. For example, scenario-based teaching and interactive learning were already well-established methods in my time, but in 1976, these were indeed considered novelties, in addition to teaching. I also started a part-time job at the county's night school, teaching English to adults. Those students were all ambitious young people with dreams, and their enthusiasm for learning deeply moved me. Teacher, I heard English will be very important in the future. Is that true? One student asked me. It's true, I affirmed. The more you learn now, the more useful it will be in the future. In truth, I knew that in just 2 years, English would become an extremely sought-after skill. Those who persist in learning now will reap great benefits in the future. As life gradually returned to normal, I began to consider some long-term plans, for example, saving money, because I know there will soon be investment opportunities. For example, networking. I've started consciously building relationships with people who have potential, and for education, I'm preparing for self-study exams to improve my academic qualifications, just as I was focusing on my career. Another unexpected piece of news arrived. Luna Sue actually found her way to the county town, wanting to see me. Teacher Lynn, there's a woman named Luna Sue looking for you outside. The school security guard came to inform me. I was somewhat surprised. What could Luna Sue want with me? When I reached the school gate, I saw a haggard-looking woman. She was wearing an old coat, with faint scars on her face, looking quite down and out. Is this the once glamorous Nurse Sue, Sister Lynn? Luna Sue burst into tears upon seeing me. I've finally found you. What do you want from me? I kept my distance, speaking in a calm tone. I want to apologize to you. Luna Sue wept bitterly. It's all my fault. I harmed you and also harmed Cruz. What's done is done. There's no need to apologize. No, I must say it. Luna Sue wiped her tears. Only now do I realize that Cruz has always loved you in his heart. I wasn't interested in this, but still asked, so what? I beg you to go back to him. Luna Sue suddenly knelt down. Please save him. I was startled and quickly helped her up. What are you doing? Let's talk properly. Cruz is in great pain now, drinking heavily every day, and it's affecting his work. Luna Sue grabbed my hand. Only you can save him. It has nothing to do with me. I pulled my hand free from hers. His suffering is of his own making. But Sister Lynn, after all, you shared 3 years of marital love. That 3-year bond ended the moment he asked for a divorce. I cut her off. Luna Sue, don't dwell on this matter anymore. But I truly feel guilty. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have gotten divorced. If it weren't you, it would have been someone else. I said calmly, a man who truly loves his wife wouldn't be so easily tempted away. Luna Sue was left speechless by my words. Moreover, I continued, are you really coming to me for Crucian's sake, or just to ease your own guilt? This made Luna Sue flush with anger and embarrassment, but she had no retort, because I hit the nail on the head about what she was thinking. She really came to me just to ease her guilt, not because she genuinely cared about Crucian. Anyway, let's just leave it at that, I said, preparing to leave. I won't get involved in your affairs anymore. Sister Lynn, Luna Sue called out from behind, do you really not love him at all anymore? I stopped in my tracks and glanced back at her. Luna Sue. Love isn't something you can have when you want it and discard when you don't, I said calmly. When one person completely breaks another's heart, love dies and never comes back to life. With that, I walked into the school, leaving Luna Sue standing alone at the gate. I knew she wouldn't give up easily, but my stance was already clear. Let bygones be bygones. I won't look back. After Luna Sue left, I thought the matter was over. But unexpectedly, Crucian appeared again, this time. He didn't ask to meet me but came directly to the school. Teacher Lynn, there's an officer outside looking for you, the guard announced once more. I frowned and walked to the window to take a look outside. Sure enough, it was Crucian, standing at the school gate in his military uniform, drawing a crowd of onlookers. I didn't want to cause too much of a scene at school, so I had no choice but to go out and meet him. What are you doing here? My tone was far from friendly. Let's talk. There was a pleading look in Crucian's eyes. We've already talked. There's nothing left to say. Please, just one last time. Seeing the growing crowd of onlookers, I had no choice but to nod in agreement. We walked to a small park nearby and found a quiet spot to sit down. Luna Sue came to see you, didn't she? Crucian was the first to speak. Yes, I nodded. She asked me to come back to you. I didn't ask her to go to you. Crucian quickly explained. She took it upon herself. I know. I gazed at the distant trees. But it doesn't matter. I know I hurt you. But, Crucian, I cut him off. What exactly are you trying to say? I want to say, let's start over. He turned to face me. I promise I'll never make the same mistake again. What makes you so sure? I retorted. Can you guarantee you won't meet a woman more beautiful than Luna Sue in the future? Can you promise you'll never be tempted again? Crucian opened his mouth but couldn't speak. Because he truly couldn't make such a promise. See, you don't even have confidence in yourself. I stood up. In that case, what's left for us to discuss? But I truly love you. Crucian also stood up, speaking excitedly. You don't love me. You love the way I treat you. I calmly analyzed. When Luna Sue was good to you, you thought you loved her. Now that she's betrayed you, you think you love me. In the end, you only love yourself. My words left Crucian pale. Because he knew I was telling the truth. No, I really, forget it, don't say any more. I waved my hand. Crucian, think it over carefully. Love isn't child's play. It's not something you can just start over whenever you want. Then tell me, what do I need to do for you to forgive me? Crucian grabbed my arm. I'd do anything for you. Let go of me. I pulled my arm free. What I want isn't for you to do things for me. What I wanted was for you not to have betrayed me in the first place. But that's impossible now. Enough. I raised my voice. Crucian, stop bothering me. I've made it very clear. There's no chance for us anymore. The words were harsh, and everyone around heard them. Casting curious glances our way, Crucian's face turned bright red. But he still refused to give up. I don't believe you have no feelings for me at all, he said stubbornly. We had such wonderful times together. Those beautiful times have been destroyed by your own hands. My tone turned icy. Crucian, do you know what it means to mend a broken mirror? Even if the pieces can be put back together, the cracks will always remain. But, no buts. I turned and walked away. I'll say it one last time. There's no chance for us anymore. Give up on this idea. Crucian's shouts came from behind, but I didn't look back. I've done all I can. If he still doesn't understand, then it's no longer my concern. Back at school, I noticed my colleagues whispering among themselves. Clearly, the incident had already spread. Was that officer your ex-husband? Teacher Lee asked curiously. Yes, I admitted frankly. Is he trying to get back together? Yes, but I turned him down. Why? He seems like a good catch, no matter how good the conditions are. Character matters more, I briefly explained before heading back to the office to continue working. Actually, I know that in this day and age, many people don't understand my choice. Most women would think that as long as a man is willing to come back, they should forgive him, but I don't think that way. I believe that a person's dignity is more important than anything else, and one should not compromise easily just because of loneliness or other reasons. Moreover, I have confidence in the future. I believe I can live well without relying on any man. Half a year passed just like that, and my life gradually stabilized. At school, I have become a key teacher, not only leading the advanced class but also overseeing the English teaching and research group. At the night school, my student base keeps growing, and everyone highly recognizes my teaching abilities. I also started writing some educational papers, which were published in the county's educational magazine. Life was fulfilling and meaningful, and I felt very satisfied. During this time, occasional news about Crucian would reach me. It was said that he did go through a period of being quiet, which affected his work and nearly cost him his position. Later, with the help of the political commissar, he managed to pull himself together again. However, according to Sister Wang, he never found a new partner and lived alone in that apartment. Occasionally, people would see him standing by the window, lost in thought, though no one knew what was on his mind. As for these bits of news, I listened to them in passing and didn't take them to heart. Everyone must take responsibility for their own choices, and Crucian is no exception. I was somewhat surprised by the news about Luna Sue, though. She actually married that male doctor and is said to be doing quite well. It seems she is indeed a very practical woman who won't let so-called emotions hold her back. That's fine too. At least it proves she's no longer pestering Cruz Shen. In the spring of 1977, an even greater opportunity arrived. The college entrance exams were about to be reinstated. This news sent the entire society into a frenzy, as countless young people saw hope for changing their destinies. As a teacher, I am naturally happy for my students, but more importantly, I realized this is a tremendous business opportunity. Soon there will be countless people needing tutoring, reference books, and various study materials, and I happened to be in a perfect position to meet these demands. I started preparing a tutoring class specifically designed to provide English coaching for students preparing for the college entrance exam. At the same time, I also contacted some publishers to compile English teaching materials. With the experience from my past life, I knew exactly which content was most useful and which methods were most effective. This knowledge is simply a goldmine in the current era. What have you been busy with lately? Teacher Lee asked curiously, noticing me writing and sketching every day, preparing some teaching materials. I replied without looking up, teaching materials, for the students, for teachers too. I smiled. The college entrance exams are about to resume, and everyone needs to improve their skills. Do you think the restoration of the college entrance examination is a good thing? Of course it's a good thing, I put down my pen and said earnestly. It gives young people a fair chance to compete, allowing them to change their fate through their own efforts. Teacher Lee nodded. That's true, but the competition will surely be intense. Intense competition is good, only then can truly talented individuals be selected. Deep down, I knew that the reinstatement of the college entrance examination was not just an educational reform, but the beginning of a broader societal transformation. From then on, China would enter a brand new era where the value of knowledge would be recognized like never before. As for me, I was determined to seize the opportunity at the dawn of this era and lay a solid foundation for my future. The preparations for the tutoring class were progressing smoothly. I rented a classroom at the County Cultural Center, planning to officially start the classes during the summer break. After the news spread, people came in a continuous stream to sign up. Not only were there recent high school graduates, but also many young adults from society, and even some older individuals. Teacher, I'm already 30 years old. Can I still take the college entrance exam? A middle-aged man asked me. Of course you can, I encouraged him, as long as you have the determination. Age is not a problem, but my foundation is very weak, and my English is practically at zero level. It's okay, we'll start teaching from the very basics. I patted him on the shoulder. Believe in yourself, anything is possible. Looking at the eager eyes of these students, a warm feeling welled up in my heart. This is the power of the times, this is the power of hope. These people are willing to make every effort to change their fate, and this spirit deeply moves me. I secretly resolved to use my knowledge to help them achieve their dreams. Just as I was fully immersed in my work, Cruz Shen reappeared in my life, but this time, he wasn't here to pester me. He came to enroll in the tutoring class. Teacher Lin, he stood before me, his gaze somewhat complicated. I'd like to sign up for English lessons. I was taken aback, not expecting to see him here. Are you preparing for the college entrance exam? I asked, puzzled. No, it's for work, Cruz Shen explained. The military district is selecting a group of officers for advanced studies at military academies, and they need to pass an English test. I nodded. It was indeed a reasonable reason. Then sign up like the other students. I handed him an application form. The tuition fee is 50 yuan. Cruz Shen took the form and began filling it out carefully. I noticed his hands were trembling slightly, clearly indicating his inner turmoil. Teacher Lin, he hesitated after filling out the form, then said, I can promise not to disrupt your teaching. The subtext of his words was that he wouldn't use class time to pester me. I know. I put away the registration form. As long as you study seriously, I'll teach you seriously. A flicker of gratitude passed through Cruz Shen's eyes before he nodded and left, watching his retreating figure. A mix of emotions churned in my heart. To say I didn't care would be a lie. After all, we had shared 3 years as husband and wife. But that was all there was to it. I wouldn't change my stance just because of this old affection. When the tutoring class officially began, and Cruz Shen indeed kept his promise, listening attentively during class and not initiating conversation with me afterward, he sat in the last row of the classroom, taking notes diligently, just like an ordinary student. If I hadn't known the inside story, no one could have detected the relationship between us. This situation lasted for a month until an unexpected incident occurred one day. That day, while I was explaining grammar, a student suddenly stood up and asked a question. Teacher, Are you married? This question caught me off guard, as it was unrelated to the study material. Why do you ask? I countered. Because I think someone as outstanding as you must have many admirers, the student said somewhat shyly. I just wanted to know more about you. The classroom instantly fell silent. With everyone looking at me, I noticed Krushin's body visibly stiffen, his eyes fixed intently on me. My personal circumstances have nothing to do with academics, I said calmly. Let's focus on the lesson. But teacher, if you're not married yet, I'd like to pursue you, the student mustered the courage to say. As soon as these words were spoken, a wave of good-natured laughter rippled through the classroom. I glanced at the student, a young man in his 20s with a rather refined appearance. A technician from a factory in the county, Xiao Zhang. I'm several years older than you, I said with a smile. I don't care about age, Xiao Zhang replied earnestly. I think you're the most captivating woman I've ever met. The words were spoken so sincerely that I was somewhat moved, but I also noticed that Krushin's face had turned very grim, his hands clenched tightly into fists. Thank you for your kindness, I replied politely. But I'm currently focused on my career and haven't considered personal matters for the time being. What about later? Xiao Zhang persisted, unwilling to give up. We'll talk about the future later. I ended the topic. Now let's continue with the class. After class, Xiao Zhang came to me again, saying he wanted to treat me to a meal. I was about to refuse when Krushin suddenly walked over. Comrade Xiao Zhang, Professor Lin is very busy, don't disturb her. His tone was somewhat cold and firm. Xiao Zhang looked at Krushin strangely. Comrade, what does this have to do with you? Krushin opened his mouth, wanting to say something but then swallowed his words, because he truly had no right to stop others from pursuing me. It's nothing, I was just making a suggestion, he finally said. Xiao Zhang was even more confused, but didn't ask further questions. He extended the invitation to me again, and I politely declined once more. Watching Xiao Zhang walk away disappointed, Krushin's expression finally softened a bit. He tried to speak to me. Comrade Shen, any questions about the study material? I deliberately adopted a businesslike tone. Krushin gritted his teeth. No, then I'll take my leave. I gathered the teaching materials and left the classroom. Behind me came the heavy sigh of Krushin. I know he's in pain, but it's not my fault. If he had cherished our relationship back then, he wouldn't be in such a passive position now. For the next few days, Xiao Zhang came to pick me up after work every day. Although I declined his invitations each time, he remained very patient. Professor Lin, I understand you don't know me well yet, he said sincerely. I can wait until you're willing to give me a chance. This kind of persistence moved me a little, but it also troubled me somewhat, because I really have no intention of dating, at least not in the short term. And every time Krushin saw Xiao Zhang coming to pick me up, his expression turned very unpleasant. Once, he even spaced out in class. When I called on him to answer a question, he didn't hear me at all. Comrade Krushin, I raised my voice to call him. He jolted awake, hurriedly standing up. Teacher, what did you say? Light laughter rippled through the classroom. Everyone felt this comrade officer was acting unusually today. I asked what the tense of this sentence is. I repeated the question. Krushin looked at the sentence on the blackboard, stammering and unable to give an answer. Sit down and come to my office after class, I said somewhat angrily. After class, Krushin came to my temporarily set up office. What's wrong with you today? I questioned. You weren't paying attention in class and disrupted the other students' learning. Sorry, Krushin lowered his head. I've been a bit upset lately. Being upset shouldn't affect your studies, I said sternly. If you can't focus in class, don't come. No, I will focus, Krushin said urgently. Please give me another chance. Seeing his pleading expression, my heart softened a little. All right, but this is the last time, I warned him. If anything like this happens again, I won't be so lenient. Thank you for your mercy, Krushin said gratefully. He turned to leave but stopped and asked, Professor Lin, may I ask you a question? What question? Do you really not hate me at all anymore? This question left me stunned. Hate. I thought about it carefully and realized there really isn't any hate left. Time is the best remedy. Even the deepest wounds will slowly heal. I don't hate anymore, I answered truthfully, but I don't love either. This statement pained Krushin more than hatred, because hatred at least indicated there were still feelings, whereas not loving meant complete estrangement. I understand, he said in a low voice. Thank you for your honesty. With that, he left, his figure looking very lonely. As I watched his departing figure, a wave of complex emotions welled up in my heart. Perhaps this is better for everyone. At least we can be honest with each other. The tutoring business is thriving. And I've opened another beginner's class specifically for students with no prior knowledge. Meanwhile, the English textbook I've been writing has also made progress with the publisher. The editor is very interested in my textbook, finding the content innovative and the methods practical. Mr. Lin, if this set of teaching materials you've created gets published, it will surely be very popular. The editor said over the phone. When can it be published? I asked with concern. At the earliest. Next spring. After all, the printing factory's workload is quite heavy right now. I nodded. This timeline was still acceptable. Next spring is just the right time for college entrance exam registration. Perfect timing. In addition to textbooks, I've also started considering opening more tutoring classes, not just English, but also subjects like math, Chinese, physics, and others can be taught. Of course, I can't teach all subjects alone, so I'll need to find some suitable teachers. I started looking for candidates at the county's middle schools and soon found several promising ones. Among them was a math teacher named Zhao Ming, who was not only highly skilled in his profession but also had excellent character. Teacher Lin, your idea is great. Zhao Ming expressed interest after hearing my plan. There's indeed a need for such tutoring classes now. Would you be willing to collaborate? I asked. Of course I'm willing. Zhao Ming nodded, but I have one condition. What condition? I'd like to be paid based on performance rather than a fixed salary. This was a very reasonable request, and I agreed immediately. Soon, our tutoring school began to take shape. For subjects, English, math, Chinese, and physics, were taught by 6 teachers across 3 classes. Though modest in size, it was considered quite impressive at the time. What pleased me most was the students' high enthusiasm for learning and the excellent results they achieved. 80% of the first batch of students who took the college entrance exam were admitted to universities. This achievement caused a sensation in the county, and our tutoring school gained great fame as a result. Teacher Lin, you're truly amazing, exclaimed a student who was admitted to a teacher's college excitedly. Without your help, I would never have been able to get into university. This is the result of your own hard work. I replied modestly. I merely provided some guidance. No, your method is truly effective, another student also said. We all want to thank you. Seeing the excitement of these young people filled my heart with a sense of accomplishment. This feeling of helping others change their destiny is more satisfying than anything else. However, success has also brought some unexpected problems. For example, the emergence of competitors. Other people in the county also started running tutoring classes, and some even deliberately slandered us. I heard that Teacher Lin has a messy personal life. She's divorced. Yeah, can a woman like that really teach students well? These malicious rumors, though vicious, have indeed influenced the judgment of some parents. A few parents of students transferred their children to other tutoring classes as a result. I don't really mind this, because I believe that gold will always shine. Actions speak louder than words. Sure enough, after some time, those students who had transferred out came back. Because they realized that the teaching quality of other tutoring centers truly couldn't compare to ours. Teacher Lin, we're sorry, we shouldn't have believed the rumors. A parent sincerely apologized. It's alright, the choice was yours to make, I said magnanimously. As long as the children can learn well, that's what matters. This incident has strengthened my resolve to continue running the school, no matter what difficulties I encounter. I am determined to carry on with this endeavor. Because I know this is not just a job, but a cause that benefits society. In the spring of 1978, my English textbook was officially published. The practical English tutorial was warmly welcomed upon its publication and was reprinted 3 times within just 1 month. I was in the middle of teaching a class when the editor from the publishing house called to share the good news with me. Professor Lin, your book has sold over 100,000 copies, the editor exclaimed excitedly. This is nothing short of a miracle for an educational guide. After hanging up the phone, I was overwhelmed with excitement. This not only signifies financial gains but also means that my teaching philosophy has gained widespread recognition, although the royalties weren't substantial. For me at that time, it was already a considerable income. I decided to use this money to expand the scale of the tutoring school. I rented a small building next to the county cultural center and renovated it to serve as the official school premises. We hired more teachers and added more subjects. By the end of 1978, our tutoring school had over 20 teachers and more than 300 students. It became a somewhat well-known educational institution in the local area. During this time, Krushin continued to study in my English class. He is very diligent, never misses classes, and his academic performance is quite good. We maintain a teacher-student relationship between us, with very little personal communication. Occasionally when our eyes meet, there is still complex emotion in his gaze, but he never expresses it. I know he is still waiting for the day when I might change my mind, but I also know very well that day will never come. Xiao Zhang continues to pursue me relentlessly, and it has become a habit for him to pick me up and drop me off at work every day, although I have never agreed to date him. Our relationship has indeed become much closer than before. Teacher Lin, what are your plans for this spring festival? Xiao Zhang asked me. I haven't decided yet, probably just resting at home, I replied. Would you like to celebrate the new year at my place? Xiao Zhang tentatively asked. My mom really wants to meet you. This invitation left me somewhat conflicted. Meeting the parents would imply taking our relationship to the next level, but I wasn't quite ready for that yet. Xiao Zhang, I think we still need more time to get to know each other better, I tactfully declined. Although somewhat disappointed, Xiao Zhang nodded in understanding. I can wait, he said, until you feel the time is right. This patience and tolerance made me like him even more. Perhaps I really should consider giving myself a fresh start. During the spring festival, the school was on holiday, giving me a rare break. I decided to return to my hometown to visit my elderly parents. My parents are quite satisfied with my current situation, believing I've found the right path for myself. Daughter, you're doing quite well now, said the mother. You have your own career and live a fulfilling life. It's just that we're a bit concerned about your personal life, said the father. You're not young anymore. It's time to think about settling down. I already have a candidate, I said with a smile, a nice young man who treats me very well. Upon hearing this, my parents were delighted and urged me to bring him home to meet them as soon as possible. I agreed, and in my heart, I truly began to seriously consider this matter. Perhaps it's time for a fresh start. After returning to the county town, I took the initiative to invite Xiao Zhang out for a meal. Xiao Zhang, I'd like to talk about our relationship, I said, getting straight to the point. Xiao Zhang grew nervous. Professor Lin, are you rejecting me? No, quite the opposite, I smiled. I was thinking, perhaps we could try dating and see how it goes. Xiao Zhang was stunned at first, then nearly jumped with excitement. Really, you're willing to give me a chance? Yes, but I have one condition, I said seriously. Let's take it slow. No rushing to succeed. Of course, of course. Xiao Zhang nodded repeatedly. Whatever you say goes. Watching his excited expression, a warmth welled up in my heart. Perhaps this is the beginning of my new life. After officially dating Xiao Zhang, some subtle changes occurred in my life. Every day, he would give me a flower, though not an expensive variety. The thought behind it deeply moved me. On weekends, we would go to the movies together or take walks in the park. Xiao Zhang is very considerate, never demanding anything and always going along with my wishes. Teacher Lin, are you tired? Do you want to take a break? He always cares for me like this. It's been a long time since I last experienced this feeling of being cared for. Although it's not the intense love I once had with Cruz Shen, this gentle warmth is also precious. Most importantly, Xiao Zhang makes me feel safe. I don't have to worry about him betraying me. Of course, our interactions also caught the attention of some people, especially Cruz Shen, who seemed even more silent than before. Once during class, I accidentally noticed him watching as Xiao Zhang and I walked hand in hand past the window, his expression very unpleasant. After class, he took the initiative to come find me. Professor Lin, I'd like to talk to you. His tone was very formal. Is there a problem with your studies? I asked, pretending not to know. It's not about studies. Cruz Shen gritted his teeth. It's about you and Xiao Zhang. That's none of your business, I said coldly. I know it's none of my business, but I still want to say it. Cruz Shen took a deep breath. Are you really sure about this? Sure about what? Being with him. Cruz Shen's voice trembled slightly. Do you even know him? That's none of your concern. I was getting annoyed. Cruz Shen, what we had is over. You have no right to meddle in my life. I don't mean to be presumptuous. Cruz Shen paused. I just don't want to see you get hurt. Hurt, I scoffed. Do you think there's anything worse than the harm you've done to me? The words left Cruz Shen pale, but he persisted. I know a bit about Xiao Zhang. Enough. I cut him off. No matter what kind of person he is, that's my choice. And at least he wouldn't betray me. With that, I walked away, leaving Cruz Shen standing there alone. In truth, I understood perfectly well the psychology behind Cruz Shen's words. He wasn't genuinely concerned about Xiao Zhang's character. He was simply jealous, unwilling to see me with someone else. But none of that mattered anymore. My life didn't need his guidance. A few days later, something unexpected happened to me. Xiao Zhang suddenly proposed to me. Teacher Lin, we've been dating for a while now, and I think we're very compatible, he said earnestly. Would you marry me? The proposal came so suddenly that I was completely unprepared. Xiao Zhang, We haven't known each other long enough. I tried to delay, but I'm already certain. I love you and want to be with you for the rest of my life. Xiao Zheng's attitude was firm. Besides, you're not getting any younger. The longer we wait, the harder it will be. His words made me somewhat uncomfortable, but I still patiently explained, matters of the heart shouldn't be rushed. We need more time to understand each other. How much more time do you need? Xiao Zhang asked. At least another 6 months, I said. Xiao Zheng's expression darkened, but he nodded in agreement. However, after that, his attitude underwent some changes. The previous thoughtfulness and patience diminished, replaced mostly by impatience and urging. Teacher Lin, when can we define our relationship? He always asked like this. I think our current relationship is just fine, I replied, but that's not what I want. Xiao Zheng's tone carried some dissatisfaction. I want a definite commitment. This change made me start re-examining this relationship. Perhaps there is indeed something missing between us. Perhaps this isn't true love. As spring was coming to an end, I made an important decision. I'm going to the provincial capital to seek better opportunities. The county town's market has become saturated, while the provincial capital offers greater prospects. What's more important is that I want to leave this place full of memories and start a new life in a completely new environment. When I told Xiao Zhang about this decision, his reaction was intense. You're going to the provincial capital, then what about us? He asked urgently. We can stay in touch, and if you're willing, you can come with me, I said, but I have a job and family here. How can I just up and leave? Xiao Zhang's tone carried a hint of resentment. Have you considered how I feel? His words took me by surprise. As he had always claimed he would do anything for me, I thought you would support my decision. I said calmly, support is one thing, but you need to be realistic too. Xiao Zhang replied impatiently, at our age, what's the point of stirring up trouble? Isn't it better to live a stable life in this small town? Hearing this, I suddenly understood something. Perhaps what Xiao Zhang likes is not me as a person, but my status and career in the county town. What he wants is a stable life, a virtuous wife, not a woman with her own pursuits. It seems we have different ideas, I said calmly. Maybe we're not a good match. What do you mean? Xiao Zhang was stunned. I mean, let's break up. I spoke my mind directly. We want different things. Forcing ourselves to stay together isn't good for either of us. Xiao Zhang's face turned grim. Are you dumping me? It's not dumping. It's a rational analysis. I explained. We're truly not compatible. Why isn't it suitable? I've been so good to you. What more do you want? Xiao Zhang's tone grew sharp. What I want is understanding and support, not constraints, I said firmly. The sound of our argument drew the attention of some onlookers, including Cruz Shen, who was waiting for me after class. Seeing us in dispute, he hesitated for a moment but then walked over. Is there a problem? He asked. None of your business. Xiao Zhang glared at him fiercely. She's my teacher. It's only natural for me to be concerned, Cruz Shen said calmly, though there was a warning in his eyes. Who do you think you are, to care about her? Xiao Zhang lost control of his emotions. I heard you're the ex-husband who abandoned her. As soon as these words were spoken, the people around fell silent, and the atmosphere became tense. Cruz Shen's face instantly turned ashen, and his hands clenched into fists. Xiao Zhang, stop talking. I quickly intervened. Why shouldn't I speak? Xiao Zhang continued to shout loudly. What right does he have to interfere in our affairs? A useless coward who can't even protect his own wife. This remark completely enraged Cruz Shen, and he threw a punch at Xiao Zhang. Xiao Zhang didn't expect him to resort to violence and was knocked back several steps. Enough, I shouted loudly. Both of you, stop it. The people around quickly stepped in to mediate, preventing the conflict from escalating further. Xiao Zhang covered his face, glaring fiercely at Cruz Shen. Just you wait. He threw down these words and left. Cruz Shen wanted to chase after him, but I stopped him. Forget it, don't make any more trouble, I said wearily. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have resorted to violence, Cruz Shen said with regret, but his words were just too offensive. Let's just put this matter to rest. I waved my hand. Make sure nothing like this happens again. The crowd of onlookers gradually dispersed, leaving only Cruz Shen and me. Are you okay? He asked with concern. I'm fine. I shook my head, but our relationship is really over. He doesn't deserve you, Cruz Shen suddenly said. I glanced at him. This has nothing to do with you. I know it's none of my business, but I still want to say it. Cruz Shen looked at me deeply. You deserve someone better. This statement stirred something in my heart, but I quickly regained my composure. Thank you for your concern, but my affairs are none of your business, I said before walking away. From behind me came Cruz Shen's voice. I will never give up. I didn't turn back, but a mix of emotions welled up inside me. Perhaps going to the provincial capital was indeed the right decision. allowing me to completely leave the past behind and start a brand new life. A month later, carrying all my savings and dreams for the future, I boarded the train to the provincial capital. Before leaving, Krushin came to see me off. "Take care," he said. "You too," I nodded.